if this is too heavy? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Okay, wait, you can keep that there. Keep that. No.
Don't react, be an adult. Hi. It gets dark at 4:30 now. Just a quick reminder here, not gonna do this all the time, but if you have liked my videos before, subscribe if you'd like to. It would help me out. Let's move on. Everyone has those pieces in either film, TV shows, or Broadway that you would either like to have or make for yourself. And one of those pieces for me is the hand belt from Crimson Peak. I have spent years just adoring and looking at this piece of clothing slash accessory. I did look for a version that I could buy for myself, and they are a bit steep, to say the least. I decided to take the plunge and try to make them for myself. I attempted 2 different ways to make a similar looking belt, and we will get to how I made those in a second. But first, I have actually never seen Crimson Peak, which I think is a travesty. So I'm gonna fix that right now. Yeah, hi, we have a 2 camera setup here. Welcome to a scaredy cat watches an actual scary movie. Wait, trend level already has. That's a great. You should go watch those. Those are really funny and great. I'm a scaredy cat. The only types of horror movies that I'm actually able to watch are bad horror movies, and I really enjoy those. They're very fun. The few good horror movies that I've watched keep me up at night, and I'm watching this at 10 p.m. So this camera is going to be watching the movie with me, and this camera is more of like we're on a watch party or like Zoom together and just, you know, having a good cozy fun time. It's for the vibes. I actually don't know anything about this movie except for like that it's beautiful. I'm gonna try to only do light spoilers here. We're gonna start watching right now. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous just from like the first scene already. Whoa, that's a pretty shot. I'm already scared. Same. Okay, yeah, oh, that was loud. I didn't like that. I feel like this whole thing is gonna be me being jump scared and just saying it's beautiful, because that's like, those 2 things are very true. The thing I really like about this scene is that even she doesn't necessarily stand out. The costume designer didn't try to go for a contrasting color. She's just warmer and more saturated than her already warm surroundings, and for some reason she still stands out. And I think it's because nobody else has that sheen. It's just a very good costume designing touch.
In America, we bank on effort, not privilege.
Where have you been looking? Look at this shot. The bluish purple with the gold, and then these like dark saturated blacks and grays with the warmth. That's the thing too, is I've noticed that a lot of the costumes, there's gold, white, and black, but the blacks are like not super all the way to black. They're like dark greens, dark blues, and, you know, really saturated grays. And I really like that. And I think that's partially color grading on the editing part. Either way, I like that aesthetic. It looks really good.
See his suit? It was beautifully tailored at least a decade.
Is that a hint? Is he a ghost? Oh. Don't react. Don't react. Be an adult. I did it. Kind of. It's not over. It's not over. It's not over. It's not over. You know, Tom Hiddleston is one of those actors that, like, off the cuff, I'm like, oh, he's overhyped. Like, you know, he's a good actor, but like, whatever. And then I forget how extremely charismatic he is because I'm loving him in this role. I think he's doing a great job. Pause, because this is our first time seeing Jessica Chastain's character, the sister. And I love that she is wearing this deep red that I haven't seen anyone else wear yet. Oh, the costumes are gorgeous. Oh, look at the detail. Look at the detail. Oh, it's so pretty. Look.
Please make some space. The baronet would like to demonstrate.
I just realized something. Is her father that Bobby or whatever from Supernatural? I should know this better. That was like one of my favorite TV shows when I was a teenager. Here it is, it's the belt. We've changed positions. Another beautiful shot. Oh. Oh. Mm-mm. The fingers, the fingers, the finger. If the dog dies, I swear. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Whoa. Okay, that was kind of cool though. Scary but cool. Oh. How do you survive that? How do you survive that? A lot is coming to pass, so in order to not like spoil the end, I will see you at the end of this movie. Okay, I just finished. Absolutely gorgeous movie. The costume design, but like the set design, the cinematography, the lighting, the editing, like everyone was pulling at like 150%. I think the movie was good. I enjoyed it, but it was also so beautiful all around that like it could have been bad and I still would have loved it. Okay, it wasn't like too scary either, but you do have to pee and I'm like a little scared to go to the bathroom. So maybe it was kind of scary. Guess I'll see you when I'm ready to make the first belt. Cool. Hi, Editing Bree here. If I look sweaty and grimy, it's because I am. This is the gremlin that edits my videos. It's been a few days since I watched Crimson Peak, and I actually had a couple more thoughts. So first, this black bow at the back of a few of her dresses, I was able to find 2 examples, but I could have sworn there were more. My first thought was that this could be that like her mother is hovering over her, kind of trying to warn her, protect her. Like that's the whole thing. Her mother is trying to warn her of something. Spoilers, by the way. And her mother appears as this like coal black specter. So I was thinking that this black bow signifies like her mother is always with her. It could also just be a much more basic explanation. It could also represent that even though she's like this innocent young person, there's darkness lurking in every corner or something. I don't know. Second, I have to pull it up. The second thing is more of a fun fact, which is that Doug Jones plays the mother, and I'm assuming a couple of other ghosts in the movie, but it says the mother on IMDb. If you don't know Doug Jones, he is an absolutely incredible actor and performer, and I put up probably is one of his more popular roles amongst our generation, which is Billy from Hocus Pocus. If you've ever seen like an interesting looking character or like an extra bendy character with like a lot of SFX makeup, that's what I mean by interesting, it's probably Doug Jones. He's amazing. And third was I actually looked up an article. I tried to find more stuff on the costuming, and she was a relatively new designer as far as in Hollywood, so I couldn't find a ton, but I did find one article by Variety, and I just wanted to say one thing from there. There's a couple of interesting things in the article, but the most interesting thing to me, and specifically for this video, is that a lot of Edith's accessories and tiny details in her costume are actually mourning jewelry and accessories, including the hand belt. What she said was that this belt was made from her mother's hair, and that the carving of the hands was a carving of her mother's hands. By the way, I showed this little hair pendant thing because that was like mourning jewelry that was popular. I don't even know if you can see the background that well. I'm gonna have to pop up these probably, and I have this here because this was a popular mourning jewelry, which was like a pendant with hair in it, and the belt has hair in it. I couldn't find another example of mourning jewelry or mourning accessories that I just hit my mic. In the pictures that I saw of mourning jewelry that I recognized, it's definitely there. I just didn't recognize anything. This being a carving of her mother's hands was actually pretty perfect for what I'm gonna do next, which is this. I'm gonna be casting my actual hand into this mold. This was really popular like a couple years ago, maybe even a year ago. Sorry, the dog's running around. If you haven't noticed, my hands are very tiny. I come from a family, one half is very petite and the other half is very tall, and I got the weird mixture of both. I'm hoping that my hands are small enough to still be like a belt, but I think it is. I've been putting my hands in front of my waist, and I feel like that could work. We're not going yet. We're gonna go in like 5 minutes. I promise. I just have to film this first. You wanna come here? Come here. Everyone to say hello to Ollie. What is this thing? Hi, can you help me? All right, so in this thing, how do you open this? I'm bad at opening things. Okay, there we go. Got it. There is molding powder, casting stone. So this is the second one. I'm hoping that this isn't going to be too heavy. That's actually a good thought. What if this is too heavy? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. They give you like little tools, sponge. No, these are gloves and instructions. All right, I'll do this soon, but this little man needs to go for you know what. So we'll be back.
So this first part was pretty simple. I just had to follow the directions and put everything in the right order and then whisk very quickly. The instructions and reviews had me really scared because they all said that it set really, really quickly, but I think it was so cold that day that it took about double the amount of time for everything to set, so I was fine. And since I needed an extra hand or two, since mine were currently occupied, I asked my mom to join me so she could press the record button and hand me anything I might need. And well, this is how that went.
You see the
Recording now?
Okay, I don't know. Do you see the red thing on the top? Here, twist the camera back towards me. The viewfinder. No, the viewfinder. The viewfinder. It is recording. The viewfinder. Wait, what? Viewfinder. What's the viewfinder? You can see what the camera is seeing.
What do you want?
There we go. Okay, good job, Mama. No. Okay, wait. You can keep that there. Keep that. No. Twist it back. You did it.
Yay!
If you can't tell, my mom and technology are not friends. But then I just had to slowly wiggle out of the cast. Then it was time to mix the plaster, and the only mixing bowl I had that I was willing to give up was this peanut tin, but it ended up working out pretty well. Instead of mixing with a whisk like I did before, you actually have to mix with your hands, which kind of felt weird, but honestly this whole project has been a weird experience for my hands. And then once I filled it up about a third, I had to kind of swish it around to make sure all the nooks and crannies were getting filled. I watched a couple of instruction videos before doing this, and that seemed to be a common mistake. Before leaving it for a couple of hours to dry, I put in these brass belt loops that I had since I didn't know how I was going to attach these hands to a belt and wanted to give myself as many options as possible. Now you're supposed to be able to take the whole thing out of the bucket, but no matter how hard I tried, I could not get it to come out. So I had to kind of awkwardly strip the hands out of their rubbery prison. Also, as a side note, this silicone dried out my skin so much. So if you have sensitive skin like me, moisturize beforehand. I had flaky skin for like days afterward. The next morning, I realized that they weren't necessarily too big, but they were going to be too heavy and too thick to look good on any belt. So I decided to shave off the palm area to fix both of these problems. I ended up taking off even the thumbs to get this to be as flat and light as possible, and this took a really long time and was very loud. I then accidentally sent some plaster flying into my eye and decided it was time for some face protection. The hands were also not stable, so all the stuff you see around it was me trying to wedge the hands to where they wouldn't move while I chiseled them.
This is the, what was I gonna say? I don't know. Okay, second try, I don't know, second way of doing it. I don't think either of these things are right or wrong. They're just like the different ways that I'm trying to recreate this belt in my own way. Headphones off for a second. Okay, so I bought a while ago. I was looking for the type that you bake and I couldn't find that at my local, I was gonna say thrift store, not this time, local craft store. And all I could find was air dry, so we're gonna do that. I actually bought my sculpting materials for this video. I used it on my potatoes first, so it'll be kind of fun to see how the potatoes and like clay compare to each other. I'm going to pull up a how to sculpt a hand. Yeah, I'm gonna go find that video and I'll put that link down in the description. So if you wanna learn how to sculpt a hand, you can. I think I might need water because you need like sponge and stuff, right? I don't know. I'm not wholly prepared for today, but it's let's get started anyway.
So the basics of this tutorial was breaking up the sections of the hand and working that way to make a hand shape, which is probably a great way to do that because that's how you're supposed to draw a hand as well. But once again, I ended up making it too large and too thick. It's not the tutorial's fault, that's totally my fault. So I scrapped it and kind of ended up doing my own thing to make it, you know, pretty small, but also a hand-like shape. But the tutorial definitely gave me a good starting point. I then wanted to make a small cuff detail and then rested the fingers on some tools so that they would lay more naturally and not just completely flat. Once everything was completely dry, I started painting. For the larger hands, I just needed to do some touch-ups. The buckle had come too close to the edge of one of them and was staining the outside, and my chiseling had just made some dirt spots. For the smaller hands, they definitely did not turn out as smooth as I was hoping. The surface just looks all kinds of bumpy. So I decided to go more for the look of the hand belts that I showed earlier. So I was going for a brass color. I started by painting it gold and then dry brushing on some brown to take it down to a more brass tone. I then wanted it to look more aged, so on the spots that would have been more worn, I added some black and brown around the edges. Then, just as I was about to do the final step on one hand, it broke in half, so I fixed it by adding some more clay. And this time I looked up online how long to bake air dry clay for, because I didn't have another 2 days to spend, so I just stuck it in the oven for 20 minutes and that was perfect.
Okay, so it is the final day, and I'm gonna close you again. And I kind of want my hair to look a little bit like Edith's. So I have this very cheap wig. You've seen it before. I've worn it several times and I've sweat in it and the curls are all weird looking. So it's just time to wash it and restyle it. Here we go.
I'll explain a little later why elastic is the way I went with this, but I originally tried it with this super glue and I think it needed more time to cure because it was not working. So I ended up switching to hot glue.
Hair is officially styled. I'm letting that dry for as long as I possibly can. And as far as these belts, we are at the final stretch. I actually talked to my mom about these belts because she's a jewelry designer and she makes jewelry, so I thought she might have some ideas on how to connect these to the belts. And she had a genius idea. Why not just attach elastic to them and then you can just put them on any belt that you want to? What a genius idea. So what I'm doing is I actually made a mistake on this first one. It was too short. I tried to originally super glue. I'm doing hot glue and I'm like really clamping it down and letting it set. I've heard that hot glue becomes stronger like over the first 24 hours if you don't like use it, you just let it set. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's true. So I'm putting it on one side and then flipping it over and gluing it on that side. That way there's this little sleeve that I can put any of the belts on. It's working really well on this one. I already have one that I tested out. I'm not gonna show you. The other one, this one, it immediately just came off. So I'm trying Velcro as well. Let's see if that works. If you've been noticing this shrug, I made this shrug. I made a short on it. If you want to see just me making it, I don't really show how I made it, but I just kind of show my process. And I'm really proud of it and I really love it and I think it's really cute. So if you want to see me make it, there's a short on it. These set for 24 hours, I'll be done and I can show you what they look like. So the final results will be right now.
Well, that one was a doozy. Neither of these turned out perfectly. The plaster one, while I think it's better quality, it is very delicate, so I'm kind of scared to like wear it. While it does look the most similar to the original, I couldn't figure out how to add that cuff that I really liked. And when I finally figured out that I could probably use Sculpey, it was too late. And this one, while I really love the look of it, doesn't look like the original, that's fine. I'm very willing to let that go. I could not figure out how to adhere the Sculpey to anything. I tried every adhesive, every glue. I'm gonna put down my candle. I tried everything in my arsenal to try to get these to stick, and they just wouldn't. And I've ruined this belt in the process. Underneath this is just globs and globs of different glues. So if anyone knows how to adhere Sculpey to anything other than like going ahead and putting it on the piece and letting it dry, that would be much appreciated. If you can't tell, I added like ribbon and actual gold thread, which is totally just coming down right here, to try to adhere it. I'll probably go back in with like wire, and I think that will look better. I think I know what to do. Yep, I know exactly what to do. I should have gotten that plaster casting thing, but bought like miniature hands that people will put their rings on, put those in, and instead of putting plaster in, I probably should have put resin in, and then I could have used Sculpey to make the cuff parts of it. Yep, that would have been perfect. Well, if I ever feel like doing this again, that'll probably be what I do. Okay, so here's the hint for the next video. I am crocheting something that is inspired by catching fire. I was just as obsessed as everyone else when the original Hunger Games books and movies came out. I'm really excited that we're all like remembering how good it was. I bet that one's an easier one to guess if you know the costumes from that movie. But until then, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you had a great time. Be sure to like and subscribe if you liked this movie. If you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And I hope to see you back here next time. Bye.